Yay Networks.
Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. I'm your host, Sybil, and I can't wait for you to hear all of the Great Girlfriend magic on today's show. So without further ado, grab something great to drink, grab your pen and your paper, and get ready for this week's episode. Enjoy. Great Girlfriends, what a pleasure to have on board today. I would call her a fellow luminary because I met her literally having a marvelous panel conversation for the luminary community. And I was just immediately, attracted to her style, her energy, and her impact. So I'm so happy to introduce to you Jacqueline DeJesu Center, who is the founder and CEO of DeJesu, a femme-focused design and innovation company with creativity at its core. Their first product launch, flagship brand, and team's current focus is SHHOWERCAP. Spending a decade as an award-winning advertising art director, Jacqueline had a front row seat building brands and amplifying strategies at some of the world's top agencies. She has led the creative work on campaigns across a range of consumer-facing categories with clients such as YouTube, Google, Vice, Altoids, Five Gum, Orbit, Midol, Cheerios. I've used all of these. Pampers, Miller Lite, Olay, Ali, Fisher-Price, Suave, and Clinique. I've literally bought everything you've ever worked on. Throughout her career, Jacqueline has been driven to create disruptive ideas by finding power in simplicity and powerful execution. In 2013, she channeled this same passion and set out on a mission to create a shower cap that wouldn't feel like a sacrifice. And can I just tell you, that thing is the cutest thing ever?
Thank you.
It's so cute. Not only is it effective, but it's absolutely cute. Jacqueline,
Thank
you've been busy
for having me. I'm really excited that this worked out.
It's my pleasure. You have been on a mission.
I have. I've been on a mission to change how we feel about our bodies in the nude and how we feel about products and how we self-sacrifice in ways that are unbeknownst to us. And yes, in its simplest, purest form, like I made a better shower cap. It is a better patented innovation for what waterproof head coverings can and should be. But at the end of the day, like, it's always been about so much more than that. It's literally about how you feel when you self-select the print that means something to you and how you wear it every day and how that makes you feel in the upgrade of wherever you were before. And sometimes that's because
Yeah, and truth be told, we never thought we had a choice in shower caps. We always thought we just grabbed the clear or the and just do, like, we never thought that was a point of power. And I like how you reclaim that to say how you see and view yourself in the nude and self-select. Those are choice words that every woman or every human actually can grab onto. Yeah. So I read somewhere where you, as a little girl, wanted to be on Broadway.
Yes, I did. And then my headquarters is on the corner of Broadway and Houston in Soho. It was kind of the jewel box of this brand that I had built, and a pivotal moment in our growth. And I think maybe what you're referring to in a piece of content that I was filming for one of our branded partnerships. It was an interview, and I found myself actually looking out on Broadway, and I put it together in that moment. I was like, as a little girl, my dad is a set builder, and my mom is a hairdresser and makeup artist. So I always grew up around TV and film, and I had a voice and this big personality, and I was an only child. So they put me on stage pretty early, just because, they were in the biz and I was this like precocious little kid with a big voice. So that was my childhood dream. And I just think it's really interesting how the universe presents itself. I believe in all of that stuff.
Right.
But the fact that the universe heard me going to sleep with clenched eyes and clenched fists, being like, I want to be on Broadway. I want to be on Broadway. No matter what it takes. I want to be on Broadway. I want to work on Broadway.
Yeah.
And to actually have that translated in a completely different way. I've never been on Broadway or even off Broadway a day in my life.
Yeah.
Despite many summers spent at musical theater camp. But
wow.
SHHOWERCAP's headquarters literally looking dead out from my CEO suite is just, it's just one of those moments, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So Jacqueline, how do you, for the great girlfriend who has the bright idea, but feels like it is just too far out of reach, how do you take that idea, that light bulb, which you've spent a career in taking a story and translating it into a beautiful product that people can consume? And I don't know if people fully understand that as you're consuming products, you're consuming stories and ideas and vision, like that's the big part about, right? Right. So how is it that you take an idea and turn it into a tangible product and then make $15,000 within the first week of your launch, which I think is just beautiful. But
Thank
how
you.
did you do all of that? Yeah.
Oh God. So I'm going to break it out into pieces.
Yes.
But I think it's a great question. I get asked it a lot. And yes, my unique combination of skills for my unique part of the world gave me an opportunity to do a very specific part of launching a brand and building a product very strategically and very right? But I think that ladders up to advice that I would give any entrepreneur, in that lean into what you're good at, lean into what you know, lean into where your network is. If you have an idea, a brand and a product launch and launching a company is so multifaceted that if you're a ninja, like junior accountant, those skills can apply to a magic arsenal that effectively allow you the opportunity to get something off the ground, or at least launch to a point where people pay attention. I think recognizing where those holes are is something that we hear as female entrepreneurs often. And the key is to start building those networks, those relationships, and those advisors as soon in the process for where those holes are. Say you are that content, make sure that someone on your board or someone in your inner circle that you're hustling to get a creative director in that can tell you how to market a product and tell you how to make an incredible shoot, right? So that is what I would say is like, yes, my unique brand of skills allowed me to launch and create a brand. So that's the first part. But I think identifying the idea is as simple as like, if you want it to exist, you can pressure test the size of the opportunity by how intense is the problem that you're solving and how many people need it. Right.
Yeah. That's good.
For me, it was pressure tested really early on. And listen, I've backwards engineered that equation because I've built it out into keynotes in a way to translate something that someone could hold on to and like take with them. But you hear about that a lot. Like, how do you know if it's a good idea? And I think especially in the world that we live in today, it doesn't have to be a massive idea to be a good idea.
Yeah.
It doesn't. You can have a very successful multi-million-dollar business with a well-executed niche product, right? But the way that equation translates to shower cap is people universally used shower caps and kind of held their nose while doing it. The best was that you were attached to it because you've used it for years. It was
so true.
It's your tried and true. It's your trusty, right?
Yeah.
It was never an experience that fit into the rest of a woman's curated beauty routine. It was kind of like the redheaded stepchild or whatever terminology we want to use for this outlier that you just, like you said, you took the best that was presented.
Yeah.
You didn't think beyond it.
Yeah.
And luckily, I think I did, and I did in a way that people wanted to buy and wanted to talk about and wanted to tell their friends. That said, that piece of things is the intensity of how much people hated shower caps, right? You could tell a 50-year-old white guy on the corner, like, that I was reinventing a shower cap and it was going to be fashionable and it was going to be cool and it was going to sell in Net-a-Porter and like just change the game of how people thought about this thing. And because of category perception, they wouldn't even have understood it because right? That's the intensity of the problem. We all understood that it was a broken product experience and it could be done better once the question was posed. So intense problem. And then for us, 90% of women don't wash their hair every day. Did I mine for that insight? Did I recognize that insight? Did I understand how to spot that insight from my years in advertising, from my years in sitting in focus groups? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I would have left advertising or pursued shower caps if it was an intensity of a problem and only 1 in 10 women would use it. I had the confidence to go because it didn't matter what your hair type was, how long it was, how short it was, whether you dyed it, and even dudes, right? Like no one is washing their hair every day. They're just
facts. Yeah. Gosh, that's so good. I love a few things that you said that are so powerful. You talked about the magic arsenal, and I start thinking about how many times I hear from great girlfriends who have not learned like their core competencies. They don't really know. They've been hired to do great things, but they don't know for themselves what they're great at. So when it comes time for them to, lean into their power, their strength, their competencies, they find themselves questioning who they are, questioning whether or not they're qualified. For you, I'm hearing you say, I just looked at the history. I looked at my receipts. Like I looked at what I have been. So, a lot of times we think to have a superpower, to do something fresh and new, we need fresh new skills. And what I'm hearing you say is don't go searching for new skills. Really lean in and start to tweak and adopt, or empower yourself using those pre-existing skills, and then have people support you, pad the weaknesses.
Yes.
This is what I tell everyone that's making a team. Like, wait. Don't hire another you. Hire a different. you need your counterpart.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cut you off. Like, hire the opposite of what you're good at. That should be your first hire. The person who fills the other side of your brain.
Yeah.
Right? And when you build your board, it's the parts of the business that you don't understand, that you're scared of, that it's going to take you years to catch up to where a C-level would be, even just to understand that conversation. Like, that's how you build your board. And when you think about what you want to do on the day-to-day, know that if you're building off of what you're great at, then you have the room to learn those skills on your entrepreneurial journey, as long as you know what you need to fill in. And it's all about accountability and self-awareness. I think that being an entrepreneur is one of the most exciting, traumatizing, empowering personal growth experiences that a human can have. Continually forced to check in with yourself and those around you and communicate your needs and draw your boundaries. And it's like all of the things are forged in the fire in kind of any
I'm like, yes.
Yes,
friend. Yes. Okay. So Jacqueline, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Which comes to me all the time. And I'm like, I know my answer. I want to hear your answer. Have you ever wanted to quit, and why?
Yeah, yesterday.
Yes.
I think I have a global supply chain and a global thing. Oh, thanks. I am very fortunate for that. But yeah, I import my fabric and my pink boxes from overseas, although we're a made in the USA product, the shower cap. And that in itself, as simple as it could be as a single hero product, like there were many times during COVID where I was like, oh, the boxes are stuck where? Oh, in the middle of the ocean? 20,000 of them? I'm done. Like, I'm ready to go back to advertising. Why did I ever leave? I was hanging out with celebrities. I had a huge salary. So I think, COVID tested all of us, but it's times like those where I really do look back at my old career and I say, well, that life checked a lot of boxes for me, and it's in that comparison that I think, or when I've been married, I've been with my husband for 15 years, very transparently. Like, I feel like that's what this podcast is so good at. Like, my friends are on their third kid. I'm 36, and now it's almost a joke that like our Christmas card is like, we're both entrepreneurs. I'm going to be holding just like a
bundle of shower caps.
While all my friends have a family around them. It's like those types of things force me to really sit back and say, why,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think if we're not honest about those parts of the experience, then we're doing everyone a disservice. So I'm happy to share it.
That's the truth. And it's like people don't understand, I think fully, a lot of people, a lot of women that I hear from want to come into entrepreneurship and sacrifice nothing. And I'm like, that's so not real world. Like there will be sacrifices and you will be tested every time you're pressed in the fire on whether or not you truly are willing to sacrifice, to get to the other side or to get to your goal or to build a team or to make the investment.
And
Yeah.
the only thing that I would say to that is there are a lot of very well off, like family funded,
Yeah.
venture funded, on top of trust fund type entrepreneur
Mhm.
journeys. And mine is not one of them. And it has
Yeah.
pros and its cons. And I think for the majority of women, it's not. But
It's not,
those
right.
journeys where it's, your risks are minimal.
Absolutely.
But I think that, everything has its pros and cons, and sacrifice is part of this. If you're not
Yeah.
get punched in the face on a daily basis and then get back up and take another one, like just stick to the 9 to 5, it's like, it's
Yeah.
a classic joke of what is it? It's like entrepreneurship is the only career where you leave a 9 to 5 to work 60 hours a day or whatever.
Yes. It's the whole truth. It's the whole truth. And every time you do 60, you're like, oh, is this enough time? Like, I feel like I could have done more. Like, because there's so much that's always waiting on you. There's no departments yet, not
Yeah.
always. And, when you're sitting at the top of decision making, you still got to sign off on everything that everyone's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came in
So,
last Saturday. I try not to work the weekends. It's like one of the ways that I stay sane. I
yeah.
came in last Saturday because we have a new collection dropping soon.
Nice.
I was there till 9:45 at night. I was like, if I get in at 9, I'll be out. Like I'll be good. I was
Not
like,
how it works.
yeah.
Look, and have you ever tiptoed in and hope no one saw you? You're like, "Oh god, do they see me?" Like, because 'cause they're like, "Jacqueline, I need to ask you. And you're like, "This was an office day. This was a quiet this was my day."
Yeah, exactly. I will say
Yeah.
that's one of the things that's been helpful about remote work is, that was so much of the experience when we were all in the same room. But
Yeah.
now if I'm not on the Zoom, I have a little bit more freedom in my time. Like, but yeah,
Yeah.
that stop and chat on the way to the water cooler, that's really like a series of 15 high pressure, like real time decisions that needs
Yes.
is not something I guess. It's one
I
that
love it.
COVID.
You're like, "Do I want this water?" Because I know it comes with it. So, Jacqueline, I've got great girlfriends who are at the beginning of their journey, who are at the middle, and who are at pivot points. I want to know some of the questions that you asked yourself when you were you're in the advertising, arena, you're in your career and you're thriving. There's
Yeah.
no reason to leave. Things are going great. But there are questions that are circulating in your head. And I want to know what those were. And then I want to know some of the questions you ask yourself when you get to those points in the process where everything starts to pile and you just feel,
Mhm.
God, the pressure is real. So I want to know those questions that you ask yourself and then the answers that you give yourself.
Okay. So, the question that I asked myself before I left was, is this big enough? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Is is it big enough? Does the
Yeah.
world need it? Because I'm big on sustainability and products launching for no reason, especially in beauty, right? Like, does the world need this
Yeah.
to exist? I think resoundingly, yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I was confident in that answer in the beginning. And then, will I be fulfilled and will I reach my full potential? Like, will I reach
Mm.
my full potential where I am? Yay or nay?
Yeah.
Do I see a path for that? Right. And for me, it was really about the decision to, oh, and then the last one, if I don't do it, will I regret it forever?
Yes.
So that's on that side. Um,
Yeah.
on the other side, remind me what it was one more time.
When
When,
you're in the middle and the pressure pot, yeah.
yeah. Um, is this as important? I'm spitballing here, so bear with me.
Yeah.
Try not to
No
miss.
worries.
But like, is this a real pressure or is this a response to someone else's pressure? Right.
Good one.
I think
Yes.
a lot of times, especially in entrepreneurship, especially as founders, things can feel like a million fires for the people that are presenting things to you, but it's at the end of the day, like maybe not that bad. So just checking in on where the stress is actually coming from is something that I try to do, especially while working with women. I will say it. Like and then like, can I solve this in an hour or do I need more time? Right. I've gotten better about saying like, I'm not going to give you an answer right now. Like,
so good.
We can schedule time so that I can give you a thoughtful plan or way through, or I want to dig into this one piece more. Like maybe let's not action that yet. And I think that recognizing if it's something that actually serves the situation, like responding on the fly or solving through it on the fly or more space to do it right is a very, very piece. And then like, is this a today problem?
Girl. Most of the time it's not, but people want you to think it's a today problem. So they apply that pressure and you have to back them up. You have to, whoa. Yeah.
Is it a today problem, this week problem? Is this a long-term problem? Is this a fire that's burning like 1,000 suns, or is there, because everyone feels better after a good night's sleep,
That's so true. Yeah. Oh, I love that so much because, oftentimes people get to that point in the pressure cooker, right? Where they feel that the solutions are so far away. And that's oftentimes where people get that start stop pattern of I started a business and I'll put the idea on hold, or I started a process and I'll stop because I don't see the finish or I don't see a solution. And, hearing from you who's very process oriented, according, from your own words to say that when you are in a system, you still have those same questions. I want to encourage anyone who's thought, people who are process oriented never have these issues. They do.
Yeah.
Jacqueline does. Yeah. But it's all about prioritizing the scenario, right? To find out what's important in the moment, what's real and true in the moment versus what's being presented.
Yeah. And one step at a time, right?
Yeah.
I have a very unique story in that I put it on the internet and it exploded in the best way, right? All the press, like all of it. But I think what a lot of people don't see is that was the tip of an iceberg. That was 2.5 years of development of me figuring out the invention that I was about to sell, right? So you're never going to see that part. No one's really writing. They're voicing it over in my articles. Right? They're asking me one question out of 30 about the development journey and how I actually did it. But for so many businesses, that 2-year thinking period and planning period, like for me, I was going back and forth to the garment district, like trying to make the physical product. But through that, I was also talking to women about their hair routines while I was going onto the subway. And it was all a focus group of me immersing myself in what this brand could be, what it should stand for, how we were going to do it differently, what the category needed, why I was the right person to do it. And I think that a lot of people expect the plan to just launch itself. And there's so much groundwork that's in order to validate the plan that should exist and leave yourself room for trial and error. But at the end of the day, it's one foot in front of the other. If you're further on, the end of a Friday than you were that Monday, that's progress. And I think we live in a world full of, capitalized businesses that look like they exploded overnight and billion-dollar unicorns. At the end of the day, the majority of the businesses in this country that are successful are as high growth as they can be, focused on profitability, and really nurturing their customer relationships.
Yeah.
And those are fundamental principles that can be applied to anything at any size. But at the end of the day, you don't need to build one that's going to be in fast company. You could just build one that provides a really beautiful life for yourself and that people want to engage with. And who's to say that that's not good enough?
So good. Yeah. That's good for the great girlfriend who's listening, who was competing against companies that have done the groundwork and wanted to set themselves in those positions and thought that meant good enough, because that is not an indicator of good enough. I really love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm also, I'm not here to say that I did everything perfectly. I don't think I have.
Yeah.
I've learned so many lessons, but I think that the biggest one is like, at the end of the day, you need to build a business that you're happy with.
Yeah.
And I'm a big proponent of whatever you can do so that by the time you have to make the big decisions, like who to invite into your business or where you want to sell, or that you have options, period. It doesn't look like a lot of different things, but the best way to keep your options is to build a healthy business and, just keep your eyes open when you're making those decisions.
I love that. I love that. I want to talk to you about money for 5 seconds. I want to know what you've learned about managing. What have you learned about money in business, managing it as a CEO and founder, and then making decisions, around money?
I've learned that revenue is not profit.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's the worst lesson ever. You're like, wait, I don't get to keep all of this? What?
I mean, and like your margins are everything.
Yeah.
I've learned that, a small, like basically like reoccurring revenue, right, is a lot more valuable than a great month versus a low month, whatever it is. Like things that you can bank on wherever you can get them. And it doesn't always mean, the large retail partnership. Sometimes it means your best VIP customer on a smaller business that comes back every month and orders something, right? Wherever that stability comes from, looking for it, prioritizing it, and searching for it, I think is really important. And then the other is that like not all money is the same. So,
come on.
these are exchanges. If someone's invested in your business, they're not doing it because they love you. That's one part of the equation. They see you as an opportunity, right? And I think just like keeping your eyes open on those things and recognizing it is important. The other is not to devalue yourself. I'll be the first to admit it that, especially during COVID and other hard times, like as a self-finance company, I've had to make sacrifices, and, I've had a big payroll for anyone else and taken a hit on my own side. But there are things that happen to your psyche when you devalue yourself in any regard.
Yeah, it's so true. Oh my goodness. Okay. Last but not least, do you have a morning routine? Do you have an evening routine? And if you have either or both, what do they entail? Like, what's your hit list for both or either one?
Okay. I love these like double-sided questions. I think you missed my question where I was saying that you're so easy to talk to.
Oh, I missed it. Thank
you. So what was it? It was my morning routine.
Morning or evening. Yeah. Yeah.
I wake up with my husband. We're big snugglers. Really important. Like, physical touch is my love language, but like the fact that I'm married to like a snuggler is just so. We wake up and typically we'll do gratitude practice. We say good morning, New York City, and like we sit and say what we're grateful for. While looking at the view, it does help, but that's new. And we've been doing it probably for 6 months, and it's really, really changed things for me. I've never had a daily meditative or gratitude practice, and I really like it. So does he. Then I'll grab my Sakara breakfast and I'll get a coffee on the run. And then depending on what my day looks like, I have about a 25, 30-minute walk from my apartment in Greenpoint, which is a town, I guess it's a neighborhood in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
to my workspace in Williamsburg. And if it's a light day, or honestly, sometimes if it's a stressful day, I'll take it to just like listen to my favorite happy songs, or like, like my pump up songs, like whatever the soundtrack to my life is that day, and just like give it a moment. And then if, it's jammed like it is so often, then I'll take a call on a fly and my assistant will squeeze in somebody for 20 to 30 minutes on that,
Mm-hmm.
on that very precious walk. And, and then, I start my day most often with either a meeting with my team as a group or a meeting with a one-on-one.
Good stuff. I love how you set that time early. That early time is designated to you. I didn't hear you say you grab the phone, check messages, Instagram. No rush to the pressure.
We, my husband and I are both pretty like phone, uh, I don't know if you're going to edit this podcast, but like reliance.
Uh-huh.
And probably 4 years ago now, it was prior to COVID, we made the decision to sleep with the phones out of the bedroom.
Ooh,
And
good.
it's a game changer. We've never had a TV, like no screens in the bedroom is kind of the vibe. And
Yeah.
that was amazing. And we still do it no matter what apartment, like we've committed to it. So it does make it harder when you're not sleeping with the phone and when the phone isn't your alarm to go to it because it needs to be a decision to go reach for it. So if you're trying to cut down, that's that. And then my nighttime routine is very simple. Like I get home, we're trying to get home earlier. I get home anywhere from 7 to like 8:30, and then just pop on Netflix, like literally it's like a show, a smoke, and marijuana, by the way, not.
Uh-huh.
But I do. I like it medicinally, I will say. Stigmatize it. And then we try to get to bed anywhere from like 10 to 12. And 12 is a bad night, 10 is a good night. But like, I will say meal plan life is one of the best things. I compare it to like the Steve Jobs black turtleneck.
No question about what he's wearing. Right.
Like, as a curvy woman, to completely eliminate the thought process of what to eat, should I eat it, what I really want, what I'm craving, whether like that whole burden that has been something that's burdened me personally for years. I have like an eating disordered past and like it's but be at this stage in my life and like be in my body and be in my power and have that stressor like completely removed while also knowing that like I'll be nourished is another like life hack optimization that I just like. The ROI is intangible.
No, I love it. And I think for you too, like, I think great girlfriends have to realize, cut some of the pressures. Like some of these things, are literally just extra pressures that you can do yourself, even if it costs you a little more, but it takes some of the ease, it eases your mind and it just eliminates the anxiety of like what to eat, what, how to feel and where to go, what to wear, all these things, cut some of the pressures out. We put so many pressures on,
Yeah. Cause you don't even realize like the searching on Seamless or Grubhub or wherever you are, right? Like searching on the app for the thing, waiting for it
time,
being available at the door for whenever it does, eating, it's just like
time.
So many things that you would otherwise not need to worry about.
Yeah. When it's coming and you're home to catch it and it's all good and you've prepped and you already know what to eat, it's like, it's a good system and everybody's happy. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So Jacqueline, what is it this is my last question for you. I know I gotta let you go, but what is your legacy? What do you see as your legacy as a woman?
It's a big one. I want to be known for adding value to the world through my product, my brand today. But and I really hope that my reputation is starting to build itself as an inspiration to female inventors. I brought in that to female innovators because there's so few female inventors that innovation is kind of a broader term, but I really do want to pay it forward. I didn't have very many resources when I set out on my journey, and I only had a couple of role models. Those names that we know, like Sarah Blakely and everyone else. I think being accessible and being available in the DMs and just being a cheerleader for someone who doesn't know if they should launch something but wants to try, just being known and continuing to grow my reputation in whatever form that may take as someone that actually, gives back to that community that I'm very proud to be part of.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I feel like it's all in the making, like it's happening. I celebrate you. So where can the Great Girlfriends first purchase their shower caps and then keep up with you on social media?
Yeah. So you can purchase a shower cap anywhere but Amazon, because that's where all the knockoffs live. So if you want the original,
oh my God, I love it.
Showercap.com, you'll get like the full branded experience. We are changing collections right now, so stock is a little bit limited, but SHHHOWERCAP.com. Shower cap, like the word that but with H's in it. And then at our retailers, Blue Mercury, Saks, Net-a-Porter, Goop, Anthropology, Free People. I love to show them love. I'm sure I left a couple off the list just now, and I'm going to get an email about it. But anywhere that we're sold, our tops are in our Instagram bio. And if you're listening, if you'd love to participate with any of our new launches or anything that we're working on too, like DM the brands. And then my personal handle is in that bio. But we're very much focused on the future, and I'm really excited about it. So anyone listening?
I can see it in your eyes. Like your eyes just lit up with this like twinkle. I saw a little happy dance there.
I am.
I love it.
An exciting time. Definitely seeing the light at the end of a very long tunnel. So
yeah. Oh, it's been so good to talk with you, Jacqueline. I really truly appreciate your insights. Yeah. And I'm just so excited for you. Again, when I met you, I was like, oh, this energy is good. I got to get deeper into her mind and just like connect with you one-on-one. So thank you so much for sharing with the Great Girlfriends.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. I said it before, but I'll say it again. Like you are on your path. You are so good at this.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I literally do this all day and it is my joy. Like it is my absolute joy.
The way your voice sounds is so nice.
Oh,
like a perfect podcasting voice. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. You heard that, guys. She loves my voice. Oh my gosh. Thanks for hanging out with me, Jacqueline.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It was such a joy.
My pleasure. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
All right, Great Girlfriends, did you enjoy this week's episode of the podcast? If so, would you please give us your amazing review on iTunes? Every single review helps another great girlfriend get plugged into the podcast and the community. Speaking of community, make sure you join our Facebook group at The Great Girlfriends, follow us on Instagram at The Great Girlfriends, and on Twitter at @the_greatGFS. I'm Sybil and I'm out. Peace.